Hello guys, how you doing? I was just about to eat my pack of crisps, my pack of sensations. Now, you might be wondering, but there was a guy called Pearl who once said, move a muscle, change a mind. Now, what does that mean? It means a lot of things, because Pearl is about what we're going to be talking about. He's the guy I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking about the Gestalt theory. It's going to be great stuff. I'm also going to explain the connection of these sensations crisps and Pearl. Interesting stuff. Now, guys, listen up. We're also going to be talking about behavioural activation. What's that all about and how you can create it for yourself. Now, guys, listen, it's going to be a great video. I'm going to go and eat my crisps. See you later. Hey. Hello. How you doing, guys? Hope you're well. My name's Steve Beckles-Ebusua, the speaker with the orange tie. How many times have I said that? Guys, welcome to the Orange Room. Those that don't know anything about me, I'm a motivational speaker. I go to schools, colleges, universities and companies around the UK, Europe and in the States. Now, as you know, and I've said it on numerous occasions, that things have changed quite a lot. And I'm training to become a therapist, cognitive behavioural therapist, loving my journey. I'm still speaking, so I've still been speaking and absolutely loving that role. However, it's time to change, and it's something I often say is that for things to change, you must change. I know we're in a very challenging situation at the moment. I mean, it's going to be a month, it'll be a year. Next month, we're in this horrendous situation. But like I keep saying to my coachees and the people I speak to, is that you're the only one that can change this. And I know it's difficult, and apparently Boris is speaking on Monday, but it's not meant to be that optimistic apparently. But you know, for me, it's just about what you can do, and that's really all you can control. So with that in mind, that's why I've been delivering these sessions. I started in March, way back in March of 2020 of this year. Because I'm studying to be a therapist, I've decided to use all of my study material and my coaching advice from my teacher, etc., to put in my sessions. So in other words, I'm now covering topics that I'm literally sharing with you. So I really, the stuff I'm talking to you, I'm like 24 hours, I've just kind of learned this stuff and I'm putting my assignment together. So it's exciting for me because this proves whether I know my stuff or not. So it's really good, but I'm learning as well. So it's a great journey. So let's get this show on the road. Now, as you know, I always have my props, you know, and it's all about kind of getting you to think outside the box. Now, you would have seen on my strapline, if you haven't, I wrote the words, what has crisps got to do with a Gestalt cycle? Now, as you can see, these are sensation crisps. How hungry are you at the moment as you're looking at these crisps? And when I bought them, they were for props, but I tell you what, I came this close to eating them. Anyway, I won't eat them because the reason I've used these as a prop is because the Gestalt theory is all about a process, all right? And the first step, the first process is called sensations or sensation. So that's why the crisp came on. So let me do a quick rewind on what Gestalt theory is. Now, massive shout out to my good friend Owen Bailey. Owen Bailey is just like a master of all this stuff, and I've been speaking to him all this week, just saying, look mate, you know, my teacher says this, but tell me more about Gestalt theory and all the rest of it. So guys, let me give you a bit of background behind it. A guy called Pearl was born in 1893, and he came up with the concept. He was a German psychiatrist, and he came up with the idea of the Gestalt theory or Gestalt thinking. Now, there's Gestalt theory and there's Gestalt cycle. All right. Now, I'm going to talk about the Gestalt cycle. All right. So listen very carefully, because this is really important, because this is you. This is your life. Let me explain. As long as you're awake, you're in a cycle of the Gestalt. Now, Gestalt is a German word for wholeness. All right. So it's a full cycle that you are living at this moment. Okay, so the first cycle, just imagine now, I'm going to give you a scenario. A man's lying in bed, he's awake, and he realizes he needs to go to the bathroom. All right, I hope you're not eating or anything, all right, but just go with me. Okay, he needs to go in the bathroom. He gets a sensation. Yeah. Okay, and that sensation is not so much he wants to use the bathroom, but there's something. Yeah, so he can't go back to sleep because there's something. All right, there's the sensation. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is that he has an awareness. All right, and that's when you're like, yeah, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom. There's awareness. All right. Now you don't do anything. You're just aware of it. The next stage is mobility. And it's not what it means exactly. So mobility, in other words, in your mind, you're thinking, I need to get up. Yeah, that chair's in the way, whatever. I need to go to the bathroom, okay? There's the mobility. And that's really important because the mobility is you knowing you need to get up, all right? Then there's action. And action says what it is, yeah? You get up and you start to make your way to the bathroom, okay? You get to the bathroom, we don't need the details, but he then starts to use the toilet. That is called final contact. Okay, so it's a final contact. Now, when he's finished doing whatever he's doing, that then is satisfaction. All right, because you've completed whatever you're doing, that's satisfaction. When that's finished, it's then withdrawal. And withdrawal means that the cycle's now finished, okay? The cycle closes, and then you go on and do other things. Now, needless to say, how many times you've planning to go to the bathroom, ring somebody, contact somebody, and the next minute you know, something happens, and then your cycle is interrupted. But this is where the Gestalt awareness comes in, where you have to complete your cycle, okay? Now, I've used that for this guy that wants to use the bathroom. Now I'm going to use it now for you when perhaps there's things you need to do in your life. And I love this. I'm just like, oh, I love it. Let me check it out now. You have a sensation. Yeah? And the sensation is something's not right. All right? Something's, you've been there, haven't you? You can't put your finger on it. But something's not right, right? It could be to do with your job. It could be to do with family. It could be to do with the relationship you're in at the moment, all right? But it's just a sensation, right? There's something, all right? You can't put your finger on it. It's something. And the sensation is very similar to the sympathetic nervous system. And what that is part of your body, which like your heart beats and your blood flow. You can't control that. So that sensation is something you can't control. It's just there, all right? And then all of a sudden, you have an awareness. And the awareness is, I need to be in another job. I'm bored. That could be for a relationship, yeah? But you're bored. You know something is not right, all right? There's your awareness. You know that, okay? Now, from that awareness to mobility, you then start thinking, I'm going to do something about this. There's the mobility. Do you see what I mean? They haven't done anything yet. You just say you're going to do something about it. Now, needless to say, this is where most of us are blocked. Am I right? Yeah. It's that mobility stage. It's like, I'm going to change my job. Yeah, I need to. Or, yeah, you know what? This relationship ain't working, you know, and yet you're still in it. Okay. It's that mobility. You know what you need to do, but you haven't done it yet. Okay. Then there's action. That's when you actually do it. You make that inquiry about that job. You have that conversation, perhaps with that other half, where you say, look, you know, unless we change, this relationship's not going to work. Or it could be, I have to try to find someone in my life. Do you see what I mean? But it's that action, all right? Then you have final contact, where you've now put it into practice. You're now doing it. So in other words, maybe you have found that job and you've applied for that job. That interview is perhaps coming up or whatever. Satisfaction is the point where you've got the job. Or perhaps you have a new relationship, or you've left a relationship. Now in satisfaction, I suffer a lot from this, because for me, I'm a go-getter. I love to go and do. But you know what? When I was studying this, I realized that in my satisfaction stage, I'm not sitting in there long enough. Does that make sense for me to say, do you know what, Steve, well done, you've done well? And I think for me, when I went through this, I thought, my gosh, this is me. I'm not in that satisfaction enough before I get to withdrawal, and then I start another circle when I'm doing something else. Now, there's a lot to the Gestalt awareness. That is just one cycle, okay? That is just one cycle. There is blocks, which I'm probably going to talk about next week. And blocks are these things that come in between your sensation and awareness. So, for example, there are some people that have blocks before the awareness. Can you imagine that? You've got a block before you're aware. So you don't even know that you got a problem or you got an issue. Yeah? Now, there's a lot in that, and I'm going to kind of talk about that. I'll definitely cover that next week. But for me, when I started reading that, I thought, geez, all right? But let's just take what I've spoken about so far. So first of all, you have the sensation. I've got to keep talking about the crisps, all right? You then have the awareness. You then have the mobility. You then have the action. Then you have the final conflict, the satisfaction, and then the withdrawal, okay? So those stages, please Google this. Like I said, I'm studying this now, and I'm just finding this enlightening, all right? But I want you to go through this and find out perhaps, where are you being held up on this full cycle? Remember, Gestalt is a German word for wholeness. For example, if you look at a bike, you don't look at a bike, the tire, the chain, the pedals, the seat. You don't. You look at the whole bike. That's what Gestalt is. It's about the awareness, the wholeness of it. But I want you to maybe, what I've spoken about already, break down those bits. And where perhaps are you being held back a little bit? Where are you stalling? Because these things can make a massive difference, Right. Let's now move on to the second thing I want to talk about, and that's behavioural activation. Boom, this is good stuff, yeah? Behavioural activation is a key word when it comes to CBT. And the whole idea is to get the client engaged and enjoyable in the activities they're doing, as well as problem solving. So the whole idea is to help them, to help themselves. And so there's steps in order to do this, and I think I've got the steps with me. Yeah, I've got them here. What I want you to do is start looking at what you need to change and how you can change those things. Now, what I've done on purpose, I've got my sheets, I've done my revision, really good. There's steps, and there's 5. All right, there's 5 steps for behavioural activation. So the first step, very important, is identify. Identify what you want to do. What do you want to do? Because that's so important, isn't it? In any form of behaviour, you've got to know what you want to do. So yes, that involves maybe setting goals and targets, etc. But identify what you want to do. That's a key thing. What do you want to do? That's a key thing. The next thing is really important, and this is a really strange one because it jumps straight in. Begin. In other words, just start. You hear me say this quite a lot. The best thing to do is the right thing. The next thing to do is the wrong thing. But the worst thing to do is absolutely nothing. So just begin. All right? So have an idea. Yeah, identify what you want to do and just start. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, Steve, that could waste a lot of time. It could do. But my reality is, I think you just need to take action. Because what happens is that, dare I talk about our stage? I think we'll probably go to mobilization stage. Or maybe, before you go to action, that mobilization, it'll be like, oh, that's not quite right. So I'm not going to do it. Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Next one is, guys, is to recruit. And recruit is really important. Recruit is really getting someone or people on your side, people that can support you and guide you and drive you to where you want to go. So the idea is to show them what you're aiming to do and use them as that kind of push. I always tell the story about Oprah Winfrey, and she lost an awful lot of weight. I know her weight's been up and down or whatever, but she said when she lost weight, it wasn't down to the diet at all. And it's really amazing because people say, what do you mean it's not the diet? Well, it must have been. You would lose that weight. She goes, no, it wasn't. I lost the weight because of accountability. Because every 2 weeks I had to get on that scale. And there was 5, 6 people looking around at the same scale. In fact, there was a big, massive scale above your head, like a digital thing. And she said that was enough to push me. That was enough to drive me through because of what people might say if I didn't do it. And that was my drive. So getting those people, recruiting those people, very important. The next one is being mindful. Oh my goodness. I mean, I could do a whole session on mindfulness. And I think I might do actually, because mindfulness is so important. It's being aware of being aware. Yeah, it's thinking about how you think. Mindfulness is very much for that technique I spoke about, yeah, with the Gestalt awareness. Because when you start thinking, hold on a minute, I'm at the mobilization stage. I'm just talking and I'm doing absolutely nothing. Can you see? So I think that awareness and being aware of being aware can make a massive difference. And the final one is to reward yourself. Now, I lost loads of weight and I weighed myself this morning. I'm well chuffed. And I'm going to reward myself. And it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to go out and buy a bar of chocolate or whatever, but I will reward myself. Why? Because your brain takes the route of least resistance. In other words, the brain's always taking the easy route. If you reward it, it's kind of rewarding your brain's thinking, oh, that's all right, I think I'll do more of that. Do you see what I mean? Rather than, again, dare I say, the satisfaction stage, where I'm just not kind of rewarding myself. So in a way, can you see how the Gestalt really has affected me today? Because I hit an amazing weight target, which I'm really impressed with. But I'm going to reward myself. And it doesn't have to be food. I might buy an item of clothing or whatever. And I'm not overweight at all, but I just want to be at the age I am really fit and really healthy. So that's the reason why I've kind of dropped my weight to a weight which I've never thought I'd be able to get there. So I'm very, very chuffed about that. And I will reward myself. Okay, so guys, that is behavioural activation. It is amazing. Now, homework time. Now, guys, I know I'm a stick. I feel like I'm teaching again, but homework is important. Why? Because it's for you to go away and put into practice some of the things that I've said. Because otherwise, you just listen to me, turn me off, and I'm gone. What's really important is that you put this in practice. So this is stuff that I pulled off of my assignment, and I want you to please give this a try. Now, this is a behavioural activation technique for people that are in depression. Okay, so I don't know, there might be people that might be in that situation, there might be people that feel they're close to that. This is what I'm going to tell you about. Basically, it's great. Basically what you do, you list 3 activities, you read this probably backwards, 3 activities you enjoy doing. All right, just write down 3 that you enjoy doing, end of, okay? Then write down 3 responsibilities that you must do. Now, first of all, I've got to put this in context. This is for people that just are maybe at that deep point of depression where they just don't feel they can do anything. Does that make sense? So that's one of the reasons why this is this exercise I'm sharing with you, because you're writing down 3 things you like to do and 3 things that you have to do. Okay. What's really important when you do that, you then create a scale. Let me explain the scale from 0 to 8. All right. 0 to 8. So just to recap, 3 activities you really enjoy, 3 you really do because it's your responsibility to do them. You then have a scale from 0 to 8. 0 is that you don't like doing it. 8 is you just love doing it. Okay. Next thing is you have a table here. Now you can't see it, but I'll describe it. Okay. You have activity. So whatever that activity was. And then you've got depression, pleasure, enjoyment. All right, let me say it again. Depression, pleasure, actually no, achievement. My apologies, achievement. All right, in those columns. Okay. Now, hoovering could be a responsibility you've got to do. All right. Now, what you do in the first column before you write down how you feel about doing it. How depressed do you feel about doing it? So, for example, I'll put 2 in here. All right. Then you put what's the pleasure in doing it, possibly 1, you enjoy doing it. And the achievement wise, well, you just don't want to do it, so you put a 1, okay? Now, you then do the responsibility. After, how do you feel compared to how you felt before you did it? Now I've put a 4 because I've actually done it, yeah? Here's the next one. What pleasure have you got? Well, feeling good. Why? Because I've done it. I've done the hoovering. Yeah. Then finally, achievement. Well, I've written 7. Do you see? I love this. And I love this whole concept. What I'll do, I'll put in the comment section, I think it was psychology.com I got this from. No, actually it wasn't. It was webmd.com. All right, so that's where I kind of got my assignment stuff for that. So webmd.com, you can get all of that. Absolutely brilliant stuff, okay? Now, these are exercises I'm sharing with you. All right, because I just love doing this. I'm sure you could pick up my energy here because I just have a passion for doing it. And I know when I qualify, it's going to be exciting times. And I'm still coaching at the moment and I'm bringing all these techniques and it's been brilliant. However, you have to put it into action, okay? If you don't, this becomes a session where you just listen to Mr. Orange talking his stuff. It was good, nice little Friday thing, but nothing happened. All right, and I read something that's very important, is motion is the precursor of emotion. So emotionally you might think, yeah, I'll get that done or whatever, but you just need to take motion, because motion is the precursor of emotion. Just take action. Boom. Guys, thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed this. Guys, I'm on the radio with the amazing Natalie Ward, guys, on Sunday between 10 and 12. And I have an amazing guest, Samantha Vale. She is a great friend of mine. We used to souse together back in the day. Really good friend. She's coming through, or she's in well, she has cancer at the moment, but she's just amazing. That's not but she's just dealing with it in an amazing way. I just find her so inspiring. You know, I can't overestimate, you know, this whole kind of journey she's on that I've been privileged to be a part of, and speaking to her about where she's at, etc. Amazing. She's a dancer, professional dancer as well, and she's on the show. Exciting stuff. She's been sharing some tips and techniques. She loves her salsa, she loves her dance, and obviously she'll talk about the challenges in her life as well. But if you are in a state where you're thinking, God, I can't pick myself up or whatever, listen to us from 10 to 12 on Sunday at on OSSR, guys. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. So guys, please listen up. It's going to be amazing. So boom, there we go, guys. That is Steve Beckles-Ebusua, the speaker of the Orange Tie. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm on a journey at the moment and it's just a pleasure to share it with you. We are going through some challenging times, and I know Boris is going to be speaking on Monday. Not entirely sure what's going to happen, but you know, it's going to be a challenge for all of us, and I know a lot of us are struggling, but we've got to try and sit together. And I always say, it's not getting through all of this, it's getting from as much as we can. Guys, thank you so much and have an amazing weekend. Take care. Cheers. Bye.